Rewriting equations, practice number 5. If A equals 2B subtract 5 and C equals 4 plus B, which of the following expresses C in terms of A? So I want to have C equal to some quantity that contains only the variable A. Right now, C is equal to a quantity that contains a B. So I want to replace this B value with some value that contains an A. So I'm going to go to the first equation, and I'm going to isolate the B. To move 5 to the opposite side, I add, opposite operation, cancels on the right. Now to remove the 2, opposite of multiplying is dividing, so I divide both sides by 2. By multiplying and dividing, the opposite operations, they cancel. In fact, they do become 1s. And this 2 has to be shared with both the A and the 5. A over 2 plus 5 over 2. Look back to the second equation. C equals 4 plus B. Instead of writing down a B, I'm going to write down the quantity that B is equal to. Okay, so combining like terms, I only have one term that contains an A. The first and the last terms do not contain A, so I'm going to use the calculator to quickly combine them. 4 plus 5 halves. Then I'm going to turn it into a fraction by hitting math, fraction, enter, enter, and it's equivalent to 13 halves. Looking at my options, option D is the correct answer. It contains a positive A over 2 and a positive 13 over 2. Please flip to the back. Now begin on independent practice number 2. And stop. Okay, let's go over this problem. If C equals 1/2 D subtract 3 and F equals 5 halves plus D, which of the following expresses C in terms of F? So we want C to be equal to a quantity that only contains the variable F. Right now, C contains a quantity that has a D in it. So I'm going to go to the second equation, and I'm going to isolate the D. To get D by itself, I want to move 5 halves to the opposite side. Right now, it's positive, so I'll subtract 5 halves from both sides. D equals this quantity. Go back up to the first equation, and instead of writing D, I'm going to write the quantity that D is equivalent to. F subtract 5 halves. I'm going to distribute the 1/2 to the items inside the parentheses. 1 times 1/2 is 1/2 F. And now I'm going to take 1/2 times 5 halves. To do that, I'm going to multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators, carrying the negative sign down. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, before I can finalize this, I do see that I have C expressed in terms of only the variable F, but I have 2 terms that can be combined. I'm going to use a calculator to speed up the process. In parentheses, -5/4, subtract 3, then turn it back into a fraction, negative 17 fourths, negative 17 fourths. Look off to the left-hand side at our options, and the correct option is option E.